Each verse of Surah Hashr is a veil of the real, lifting only for the heart that listens beneath sound. Its recitation is not a movement of the tongue, but the turning of the soul toward its origin. In every syllable lies a current of power that gathers the scattered fragments of being back into divine order. This surah does not grant results through haste. It reveals what was already prepared before you asked. When spoken with awareness, its rhythm becomes remembrance itself, polishing the mirror of the heart until the unseen reflects within the seen. What you call result is only recognition. What you receive is what you have always been carrying. The mystic recites not to summon blessings, but to awaken the place from which blessings rise. Surah Hashr is that awakening the breath of unity disguised as words, the echo of the one calling you back to the silence between verses where all power hides. The seeker who enters the garden of the divine names does not find separation, but harmony disguised as difference. Each name is a ray of the same sun, shining through the prism of creation. To the ordinary eye, they appear as many the merciful, the just, the hidden, yet in their source, they are one flame without shadow. To perceive this is to witness the unity behind multiplicity, and to know that every form bends toward the same light. The names are not merely sounds taught to the tongue. They are mirrors through which the real beholds himself. When the heart becomes polished, these mirrors face each other, reflecting endlessly until all reflection dissolves into the one who reflects. Thus, the Gnostic does not memorize the names, he times remembers times them, for they are his own divine origins written within his breath. Every creature is a verse of the names made visible. The mountain stands firm by the name times, Al-Qawi times, the strong. The river flows by times Al-Latif times, the subtle. And the heart beats by times Al-Hayy times, the living. To see the world rightly is to see the names performing their endless prostration, a silent symphony that never ceases since the dawn of being. The names do not compete, they complete one another. Mercy does not challenge majesty, nor does majesty oppose beauty. Each is a letter in the word of existence, and when read together, they utter the secret of oneness. The wise one reads creation as a book written by the breath of the compassionate, where every letter glows with divine intent. There is a hidden axis where all the names converge, not in sound, but in essence. It is the place the mystic reaches when his worship ceases to be personal and becomes universal. There, the mercy of Allah is not apart from his might, nor his forgiveness from his justice. The seeker's self dissolves into the harmony of opposites, tasting the sweetness of unity in the salt of surrender. When the tongue utters times Bismillah asterisk, it calls upon the gathering of all names. For times, Allah times, is the totality of them. In that single word lies the whole ocean of the unseen, whose waves are the names rising and falling in endless praise. To say it consciously is to drink from the cup of the infinite and to become drunk with remembrance. Every name is a door, and every door opens into another until none remain but the doorless. The seeker begins by knocking times, Ya Rahman, Ya Ghaffar, Ya Noor, asterisk, but in the end, he realizes there was never a door, for he was always inside. The names were the paths leading him back to the silence from which they first appeared. The divine names do not reveal themselves to the intellect alone, for the mind divides what the heart unites. Only when the intellect bows to the light of love does the truth appear whole. Ibni Arabi said, "He who knows the names outwardly remains a scholar. He who knows them inwardly becomes a mirror." Thus, knowledge becomes vision, and vision becomes annihilation. The light of the names shines most clearly in the heart that no longer seeks. For seeking implies distance, and distance is an illusion created by the ego's shadow. When the seeker vanishes in the remembrance of the One, the names cease to be objects of worship and become waves of identity. He no longer calls upon Allah. Allah calls upon himself through him. Each name carries both a fragrance and a color known only to the soul. The name Al-Noor gleams like dawn after rain, while time's Al-Ghafur, time smells of mercy after sorrow. To live with awareness of the names is to breathe in divine perfumes, each reminding the heart of its homeland beyond form and time. There is no hierarchy among the names. Their majesty lies in their togetherness. The name Al-Jalil, the majestic, reveals what time's Al-Jamil, times, the beautiful, adorns. The seeker who separates them misses the secret of the weaving. Like threads of light, they interlace until every contrast becomes the fabric of perfection. In the depths of meditation, when all concepts fall away, the names begin to speak without words. Their speech is vibration, their meaning pure presence. It is then the heart understands that every name was calling it toward stillness, not to multiply knowledge, but to return to the source from which knowing itself flows. The gathering of the names is not a place but a state. It dawns when the seeker no longer prays for himself, but as himself as a manifestation of the one praying to the one. The prayer and the prayed to merge, and the names lose their plurality in the single gaze of the real, looking upon the real. The divine names dance within existence, as light dances upon water. The waves change, but the light is constant. So long as the seeker identifies with the waves, he sees many. When he becomes the light, he sees only the sea of oneness shimmering endlessly without shore. To invoke the names is to trace the hidden pathways of the cosmos. Each repetition is a step across the bridge from form to essence. The more one remembers, the thinner the veil becomes, until remembrance itself disappears, not because it ends, but because there is nothing left to remember outside the one. The names are not outside of man. They are his own inner architecture. Al-Hakim times gives wisdom to the intellect. Al-Rahim times softens the heart. Al-Qadir times strengthens the will. Man is the meeting place of all names, the divine mirror, polished to reflect the totality of the real self-disclosure. To know the names truly is to fall silent before them. The Gnostic bows not in form, but in awe, realizing that every name is both his origin and his destiny. Between the two lies a single breath, the breath of Allah, manifesting and withdrawing in eternal rhythm. The names gather where duality dissolves. They meet in the secret chamber of the heart that has been emptied of self. There, the seeker witnesses the truth, that the light he sought in the heavens was burning within his own being all along. The names gather not around him, but times as times him. In that sacred convergence, the universe becomes transparent. Every star, every leaf, every atom whispers its name back to the source. The seeker beholds creation as a chorus of divine attributes, singing in unison, a single light refracted into countless colors, each returning to its origin in perfect harmony. There is no seeker, no names, no gathering, only the light itself, indivisible and eternal. The names dissolve like dew in the morning sun, leaving behind the radiance of the real. This is where the divine names gather as one light, where all multiplicity melts into the silence of God's own gaze. Between every verse lies a silence more eloquent than words. It is there that the real hides his face, veiled not by distance, but by nearness. The seeker who listens only to sound misses the whisper that speaks when the recitation pauses. For the door is not in the verse itself, but in the breath that joins one to the next. A breath that belongs to neither heaven nor earth. The secret door does not open to effort, it yields to surrender. It is unlocked not by scholars, but by lovers whose tongues tremble with remembrance. Each verse is a knock, and the silence that follows is the turning of the key. When the heart learns to hear that silence, the unseen world begins to breathe through it. The verses are rivers, but the hidden door is the ocean beneath. Those who swim upon the surface recite beautifully, yet remain thirsty. But the one who dives between verses discovers the tide that pulls all speech back to its source. There, words return to light, and meaning flows without form. Revelation descends like rain, yet its secret rises like mist. Between each verse, something unseen lifts upward, a scent of divine intention. The prophet's heart received not just what was spoken, but what hovered in the pause between. That pause was the voice of the infinite, echoing in the finite. The door is invisible because it is made of awareness. When the reader forgets himself, the space between verses expands like dawn after long night. In that brightness, sound becomes light and meaning becomes being. The Quran ceases to be a book and becomes the universe remembering its author. The verses are lamps, but the secret door is the flame that unites them. Without it, the lamps are many. With it, they are one illumination. The mystic seeks that unity not through interpretation, but through presence. When the verse ends and the heart remains awake, the flame reveals itself as the soul's own origin. Every recitation is an ascent and a return. The tongue climbs through words, but the heart descends into silence. Where they meet, a gate opens unseen, unmarked, yet more real than flesh. Through it, the reciter is recited, the listener is heard, and the seeker becomes the sought. The space between verses is the womb of meanings unborn. When the seeker rests there, the Quran speaks anew, creating worlds within the heart. What was once a command becomes a revelation of self. What was once a story becomes the map of the soul. The hidden door births both understanding and annihilation. Those who seek the door outwardly find only walls, for the door opens inward, deep into the chamber of consciousness. There, the real reveals that every verse was a mirror, and every pause a window into infinity. The more one reads, the less one knows, until knowing itself dissolves into being known. The scholars measure the Quran by verses and chapters. The lovers measure it by silence. In that silence, the real draws near, unveiling himself in the spaces men neglect. The door is not built of logic, but of longing, not guarded by angels, but by one's own heedlessness. When the name of Allah is spoken, it is not the sound that calls him, but the stillness that follows. That stillness is his answer. Between the verse and its echo, the door glows faintly. Only those emptied of themselves can step through. For the real is jealous of his presence. He hides where only surrender can reach. The secret door is not opened once, but endlessly. Each recitation builds a bridge of remembrance, and every crossing reveals a new horizon. The door leads not to a place, but to awareness itself, to the station where the reader realizes that the Quran was never outside him, but reciting him from within. When the heart becomes still, the unseen letters appear. They are not inked upon parchment, but inscribed upon light. These letters form the threshold of the secret door. To read them is not to sound them aloud, but to feel them unfolding in the silence between breaths. There are listeners who hear only verses, and there are lovers who hear the one who speaks. For the lover, the Quran is not recited, it recites him. In the pause between verses, he feels the divine gaze descending, measuring his heart's presence. That gaze is the opening of the hidden door. Every revelation conceals another. Beneath the outer meaning lies a current of remembrance that flows toward unity. When the seeker follows this current, he crosses through the hidden door, leaving behind sound, thought, and image. What remains is light aware of itself, the Quran before words were born. The hidden door is guarded by silence, because silence is the first name of God. In silence, all opposites reconcile, and every question finds its answer before it is asked. Those who fear the void cannot see the door. Those who love it step through without knowing, and find themselves in the heart of the real. As the seeker matures, the verses no longer seem separate. Each one becomes a breath of a single, infinite speech. Then, the door is no longer hidden, for all creation becomes its frame. The entire universe turns into a verse, and between its lines, the divine presence flows ceaselessly. At the threshold, the seeker loses his voice, not because he is silenced, but because he has become the silence itself. In that state, the Quran is not read, it is lived. The secret door has opened within his chest, and every heartbeat recites what words cannot contain. The hidden door teaches that revelation never ended. It continues wherever a heart listens fully. The Quran descends anew with every act of awareness, with every tear shed between verses. The door is ever present, waiting for the moment when reading becomes remembrance and remembrance becomes union. The seeker realizes that there was never a door, only the illusion of outside and inside. The verses, the silence, the listener, the word, all were facets of one light, shining through different hearts. To find the secret door is to awaken from separation and behold the real speaking through every breath, between every verse, beyond all sound. When the tongue speaks, it thinks it is uttering sound, but the Gnostic knows that it is the echo of a deeper voice. Every word born from remembrance is first whispered in the soul by the real, and the tongue merely repeats what the heart has already heard. To speak in truth is to translate light into sound, to give shape to the unseen meanings descending through the breath of the merciful. The soul does not answer in words, for her language is silence. She responds through trembling, through stillness, through tears that know without understanding. The heart is her chamber, and every vibration of dhikr awakens a forgotten memory of the beloved. When the tongue moves in remembrance, the soul rises in recognition, as if responding to a call she has awaited since before time. The speech of the tongue belongs to this world. The reply of the soul belongs to eternity. Between them lies the breath, that mysterious bridge where heaven leans toward earth. The one who speaks without awareness hears nothing in return, but the one who speaks from the heart feels the whole universe exhale with him, as if creation itself were answering the call. True dhikr is a dialogue, not a monologue. The unawakened speak toward God, but the lovers speak times with times him. Every utterance is a question born of separation, and every vibration that follows is the answer of union. The moment the name leaves the lips, the soul responds like a mirror reflecting light back to its source. When the tongue utters the name times Allah asterisk, the heart becomes its listener. The sound travels inward, like a pebble cast into still water, sending ripples through every layer of being. At the deepest center, where stillness becomes awareness, the soul answers not with another sound, but with the radiance of recognition. It is not reply, but return. The prophets spoke not from the mind, but from the soul's flame. Their words were echoes of divine breath, shaped into meaning for the sake of those still asleep. When a heart purified by love speaks, the real borrows its tongue to address himself. Thus, every true word is an act of revelation, and every listener who hears with purity becomes part of that revelation's unfolding. The soul's answer is not bound by time. It is heard in realms where sound is light and silence is praise. When the tongue speaks the sacred names, the soul remembers the covenant of times. Alastu bi rabbikum, asterisk, am I not your Lord? Every act of remembrance is a return to that eternal yes, spoken before creation took form. The ignorant imagine they are calling upon God. The wise know that God is calling through them. The movement of the tongue is only the shadow of the divine intention. When the soul hears this inner call, she bows inwardly, and the whole being becomes a single act of worship, a circle in which the caller and the called are one. Speech is born from breath, and breath is the trace of the spirit. To remember the real through words is to let that spirit move again through clay. The soul recognizes this movement as her own origin. She answers not to affirm, but to surrender, as a wave dissolves into the sea that gave it form. Every sound of remembrance carries a hidden return. It rises from the heart, travels through the tongue, and descends again into the heart purified. This cycle is the heartbeat of divine dialogue. Those who are awake feel it with every recitation, an inhalation of creation, an exhalation of return. There are moments when the tongue falls silent, yet remembrance continues. This is when the soul has taken over the speaking. Her voice is not heard but felt, a warmth spreading through the chest, a sweetness behind the eyes. In that silence, she converses with her beloved, without letters, without breath, without need. The saints of Allah do not speak for men to hear. They speak for their souls to listen. Each word they utter is a ladder, each syllable a step toward reunion. They know that language is only a garment for light, and when it is worn with sincerity, even a single name can carry one across the worlds. The soul's reply often appears as peace, not the peace of still air, but the peace of recognition, like a child returning to its mother's embrace. It is a knowing that precedes thought, a warmth that erases distance. The mystic waits for no sign. He feels the answer before the question leaves his lips. When the tongue speaks truthfully, it does not invent, it remembers. Every word of light was first spoken by the real within the depths of being. The soul hears these echoes as her own ancient voice. Thus, remembrance is not learning new speech, but returning to the speech that created existence itself. Some words wound, others heal, but the words born of remembrance awaken. They touch the root of the heart, where the soul dwells like a flame beneath ash. When the name of Allah reaches that place, the ash scatters and the flame rises. The soul answers not in sound, but by burning brighter. To speak from the outer self is to make noise. To speak from the soul is to sing. The real listens only to the latter, for when the soul answers, her tone carries no ego, no demand, no fear, only recognition. The angels lean close to hear that answer, for it reminds them of the first dawn of obedience. The dialogue between tongue and soul is endless. Every utterance births a new revelation. Every silence conceals a deeper word. This is why the wise repeat the names unceasingly, not for repetition's sake, but to keep alive the rhythm of divine communication that sustains the world unseen. When remembrance matures, even breath becomes a conversation. Inhaling is the reception of grace. Exhaling is the offering of praise. The seeker realizes he has never stopped speaking with the real. It was only his attention that wandered. The soul has always been answering, even in forgetfulness. The soul's answer transforms the one who hears it. It is not instruction, but transfiguration. The sound of the tongue dissolves into the silence of the heart, and in that silence, the listener becomes the spoken. There is no speaker, no answerer, only the word fulfilling itself through being. At the end of this sacred exchange, nothing remains to be said. The tongue has fallen silent. The soul has merged with its source. The conversation that began with a whisper ends with annihilation, not loss, but completion. For when the tongue speaks and the soul answers, the real has spoken to himself through the veil of man. When the seeker first recites, he hears his own voice echoing through the chambers of form. The words remain bound to tongue and memory, like seeds yet to touch soil. But when recitation ripens into presence, the voice becomes transparent, a current through which the real speaks himself. The veil thins, and the heart begins to see what the ear could never hear. Presence is not a posture, but an unveiling. It is the stillness that dawns when every syllable finds its home in the heart. The veil that once separated meaning from experience begins to dissolve. The reciter no longer reads, times about times the divine. He becomes the field in which the divine is revealed. The Quran ceases to be a book and becomes breath woven into being. The veil is woven from heedlessness, from the illusion that the one being remembered is elsewhere. When remembrance becomes living awareness, distance disappears. The tongue continues to move, but it is no longer performing. It is participating. Every letter becomes light rising from the soul's horizon, illuminating what was hidden behind the screen of repetition. To recite without presence is to trace the outline of a door and never enter. The heart hears the words, but not the speaker. Yet the moment attention deepens into devotion, the door opens inward. The verses turn luminous, and the listener realizes the real was speaking through his very breath. The veil lifts quietly, as dawn lifts darkness without struggle. Presence transforms recitation into revelation. It is not about how much one reads, but from where one reads. The heedless read with their eyes, the lovers read with their hearts. When the veil lifts, each verse becomes alive, moving through the seeker like wind through leaves. The soul trembles, not from fear, but from recognition. The Quran is a mirror that never refuses a reflection. When the heart stands before it without veil, it sees itself as it truly is, both servant and secret. The letters glow not with ink, but with awareness. What was once an external command becomes an internal remembrance, the voice of the real, calling the heart back to itself. The lifting of the veil is not the work of the reader, but the grace of the heard. Presence invites that grace, like a window inviting light. When the heart empties itself of distraction, even a single verse becomes a universe. The seeker realizes that he was never apart from revelation. It was his absence from himself that made it seem distant. Each time the veil lifts, the world becomes transparent. The trees recite, the stars glorify, the stones remember. The seeker begins to see creation as one vast dhikr in motion. The Quran within the chest meets the Quran, scattered across existence, and together they proclaim the same eternal word. When the veil thins, time loses its measure. Past and future vanish in the immediacy of hearing. The tongue continues its movement, yet the soul stands still in the ocean of presence. Every verse arrives as if for the first time, newborn from the mouth of the infinite, fresh with divine breath. Presence reveals that recitation is not linear, but circular. Each beginning is a return, each end an opening. The veil that once seemed to separate the seeker from the sought becomes the very path of reunion. For the real hides himself in repetition, so that love may rediscover him endlessly. The sound of the verse carries the veil. The silence between carries its lifting. The wise listener dwells in both, in sound to remember, in silence to behold. When the balance is found, the voice of the reciter and the silence of the real become one rhythm, one pulse, one unbroken gaze of awareness. To be present in recitation is to dissolve the listener and the speaker alike. The heart becomes the space where divine meaning takes form. The letters, once heavy with pronunciation, grow weightless, suspended in the still air of remembrance. What remains is not words, but presence itself, pure, radiant, formless. The veil begins to lift when the reciter forgets his own piety. True presence comes when the ego no longer claims the act of remembrance. The words flow without ownership, like a river unaware of its own current. In that humility, the real reveals himself as the one who recites, the one who listens, and the one who is remembered. Every veil has its purpose, for without concealment, there can be no discovery. The seeker must learn the taste of distance to recognize the sweetness of nearness. When the veil lifts, gratitude floods the soul, for now he understands. The concealment was itself a form of mercy, teaching the eyes to long for light. As presence deepens, the Quran ceases to be an object of recitation and becomes a mirror of being. Each verse points inward, drawing the soul closer to the center where the divine resides. The lifting of the veil is not sudden, it is a dawn unfolding, where light grows gently until it fills every corner of the heart. There comes a moment when the seeker no longer reads, he is read. The verses move through him like breath through flute holes, producing melodies only the beloved understands. The veil has fallen, but he remains veiled in awe, for even revelation is too luminous to grasp. Presence is both unveiling and reverence. When recitation becomes presence, meaning no longer travels from tongue to ear, but from soul to soul, the real reveals himself through vibration, not explanation. The mystic hears within each verse the pulse of creation, the heartbeat of eternity disguised as sound. The veil lifts not by tearing, but by melting into light. The lifting of the veil is not an ending, but a return to the beginning, the moment before speech, when all meanings rested within the divine silence. The seeker tastes that silence even while speaking. He realizes that every verse was born from stillness and longs to return to it, just as every soul yearns to return to its source. The heart that recites with presence becomes a lamp for others. Its light is not from eloquence, but from awareness. Those who hear such recitation feel the veil tremble within themselves, for the real speaks through the tongue of presence directly to the soul's remembrance. The listener awakens before knowing why, and when the veil has lifted fully, nothing remains between the word and the heart. The reciter vanishes into the sound that once seemed his own. The verses flow, the world breathes, and all creation joins in the single act of divine remembrance. Presence becomes the only recitation, the eternal voice of the one revealing himself through every breath. The heart is the first listener in creation, the chamber where the echo of the unseen still trembles. Before words were shaped and meanings divided, the heart heard the command *be. It carries that sound within it still, a resonance beyond time. Every longing, every movement toward truth is but the memory of that ancient vibration calling it home. The unseen command is not sound, yet it gives birth to all sound. It is the silence before existence, speaking without tongue or breath. The heart alone was fashioned to perceive it, for the ear of flesh would shatter under its weight. Thus, the mystic listens inwardly, where the echo reverberates as light rather than tone. When the heart grows still, it begins to hear what the senses have forgotten. The world falls away, like dust from a mirror, and the ancient echo rises again. It is not a message, but a recognition, a remembering of the covenant once whispered between the soul and the real. To hear it is to awaken from the dream of separation. The echo does not come from beyond. It comes from within, the depth that has no depth. It speaks through the pulse, through the rhythm of breath, through the silent knowing that precedes thought. The seeker who listens outwardly finds only noise, but the one who listens within finds the trace of the divine decree, shaping every heartbeat. Each command of the unseen is a wave upon the ocean of being. Creation itself is the foam it leaves behind. The heart hears this motion not as instruction, but as intimacy, the real disclosing himself to himself through the mirror of consciousness. The more the heart is polished, the clearer that echo becomes. There are moments when the heart quivers without reason, when tears arise uncalled. That trembling is the brush of the unseen word, reminding the soul of its origin. The intellect seeks meaning, but the heart recognizes presence. In that recognition lies obedience without effort, the surrender born from remembering the first command. The prophets heard the unseen not with their ears, but with hearts made transparent. Revelation is the descent of that eternal echo into the language of form. Every prophet, every saint, is but an instrument tuned to the same unseen vibration. Their hearts caught what words could not contain and gave it shape for those who could not hear. The echo is not bound by place. It resounds in every heart that becomes a sanctuary of silence. Wherever there is true listening, revelation descends anew. The command never ceased. Only the listeners fell asleep. When remembrance awakens, the echo returns not as novelty, but as the remembrance of the ever-present decree. To hear the echo is to feel creation participating in your own existence. The wind through trees, the murmur of rivers, the movement of stars, all repeat the primordial asterisk, B, asterisk. The heart that listens rightly understands that nothing is mute. All things are reciting the first breath of being in their own language of form. The unseen command does not instruct what to do. It reveals what times is, asterisk. It does not guide the limbs, but aligns the heart with the axis of truth. When heard, it dissolves the burden of choice, for obedience becomes natural as light following dawn. The listener becomes the command itself, living as the word embodied. The heart is a temple built for hearing. Each act of remembrance clears its walls of dust until the echo returns to fullness. Then the seeker realizes that the command was never spoken once. It is spoken now, continuously sustaining existence. The echo is the pulse of divine will, breathing through every instant. There are hearts too crowded to hear, filled with desires, thoughts, and echoes of the world. But when silence enters like dawn into darkness, the true echo emerges from beneath the noise. It calls not the ear, but the essence. It says, "You are not apart from me. You are my speech, made visible." The unseen command is both creation and return. It speaks once to bring forth existence, and forever to call it back. The heart stands between these two directions, translating descent into remembrance and remembrance into ascent. To live in this awareness is to become the axis of divine dialogue. Those who hear the echo walk gently upon the earth. They sense the divine rhythm guiding even the smallest motion. Their steps are measured not by intention but by alignment. For them, every path is sacred ground, every breath a recitation of the command, still vibrating from the dawn of time. The echo does not end in comprehension. It ends in absorption. The heart, listening deeply enough, forgets itself, and the listener vanishes into the sound. There remains only awareness, aware of itself. In that instant, obedience becomes identity. The heart is no longer commanded. It times the command. When the unseen command touches the heart, it awakens compassion. For the one who hears knows that all beings are moved by the same voice. Judgment fades, for the heart perceives unity beneath the diversity of forms. Every creature becomes a verse of the same recitation, and love becomes the only understanding. The heart hears the unseen command most clearly in surrender. When resistance falls away, the echo expands like wind filling a sail. The seeker no longer strives to hear, he times is times heard. The real listens through him, and the distinction between caller and called dissolves into pure harmony. The echo shapes destiny in silence. What appears as circumstance is the unfolding of the primordial decree. To hear it is to recognize that nothing happens outside divine speech. Every joy, every wound is a syllable of that same utterance, written upon the fabric of experience for the heart to read. When the veil of form lifts, the heart perceives the source of the echo, the eternal now, in which the command eternally resounds. There is no past word or future word. There is only the continuous be, sustaining existence moment by moment. To abide in that hearing is to live beyond time, where obedience and freedom are one. The heart hears not an echo, but the silence from which all echoes arise. The command becomes stillness, and stillness becomes the command. The seeker vanishes into the vibration that once seemed distant, discovering that he was never the listener at all. He was the word itself, resonating within the breath of the infinite. Before thought arises, before desire stirs, there moves a current too subtle to be named. It is the silent power from which every intention is born, the will of the real, manifesting through the heart before the mind awakens to claim it. This is the motion that shapes existence before existence knows it has moved. The seeker believes he decides, yet decision is only the shadow of a command already uttered in silence. The power precedes thought as lightning precedes thunder. When man says, "I will," it is the echo of the divine will, already flowing through him. To recognize this is to see oneself as a window, not a source. The silent power is not motion, as the world knows motion. It does not travel, for it has no direction. It simply times as asterisk. Like light before it shines, like breath before it is drawn, it abides in the still center of being. Every act is its unveiling, every rest its retreat. It moves without moving. Intention is the surface of the ocean. This power is its depth. The mystic learns to descend from the froth of will to the silence of origin. There he discovers that choice was never his own, but the play of divine energy expressing itself through the veil of personality. Surrender is not defeat, it is clarity. When the silent power flows, it does not announce itself. It bends hearts, redirects paths, and arranges meetings that no plan could have foreseen. The unaware call it coincidence. The Gnostic calls it decree. It is the secret rhythm that turns the pages of destiny while man reads unaware. Before the lips form prayer, the answer has already been whispered by this power. It is the unseen alignment of cause and grace. The seeker prays to be guided, yet the very act of praying is guidance unfolding. The real moves first, and man responds as a leaf, trembling at the touch of the unseen wind. All creation is this power clothed in form. Mountains, rivers, stars, each is a gesture of the silent will. It moves through them as melody through flute holes, shaping existence without noise. The wise see no separation between divine command and worldly event. All are expressions of the same quiet breath. This power is not bound by virtue or sin, for it belongs to neither. It is the impartial movement of being toward disclosure. It manifests through both mercy and majesty, weaving opposites into harmony. To the one who sees, even the fall of a leaf is revelation, perfectly timed within the unseen decree. Before intention, there is listening, a waiting so deep it forgets itself. In that stillness, the heart becomes receptive to what the real intends to express through it. The mystic does not act to fulfill desire. He acts because the current of silence has begun to flow, and he becomes its motion. The silent power is the handwriting of the unseen across the parchment of time. Each moment carries its mark, whether we notice or not. To align with it is to read life as revelation, to hear the divine pulse beating beneath events. It is not acquired, it is times remembered. Asterisk. When man acts from the silent center, his actions bear fragrance. They are effortless, precise, unforced. The ego's striving falls away, and the power moves through him as the wind through the reed. Such deeds are not his, they are the real's self-expression in the language of the world. This power is neither before nor after. It is the eternal, now underlying all sequence. Intention belongs to time, but this movement belongs to eternity. Every moment in which it is recognized becomes timeless, for the heart tastes what it means to act while not acting, to move while remaining still. Before prophets spoke, the silent power had already spoken through them. Revelation was not sound, but a descent of this pure motion into the chamber of the heart. The words that followed were translations of that silence into human language. Thus, the prophet became the bridge between stillness and sound. In every soul, this power sleeps like fire in flint. When remembrance strikes, it sparks invisible, luminous, inexhaustible. The seeker feels it as inspiration, intuition, sudden clarity, yet these are only its reflections. The power itself remains unseen, resting where divine will and human heart meet as one. This silent movement is mercy disguised as necessity. It rearranges circumstances not to punish, but to perfect. Each turn of fate, each delay, each loss, all are strokes of an unseen calligraphy, spelling the secret of the soul's return. The heart that trusts learns to read it without fear. Intention is the language of separation. Silent power is the speech of unity. The more one surrenders, the less one intends. The saint does not cease to act, he ceases to time's own time's action. His will becomes transparent, and the real's will shines through it like sunlight through glass. This power operates even in the absence of awareness. The ignorant and the enlightened are moved alike, but the latter moves knowingly. Awareness turns compulsion into worship, fate into dance. When man recognizes the silent mover, even stillness becomes participation in divine motion. There is a moment before every act where stillness gathers a pause so subtle it escapes attention. That is where the silent power hides, like breath waiting to exhale. The mystic dwells there, watching intention form from emptiness. To live in that interval is to witness creation as it happens. The silent power is not attained by striving, but revealed through surrender. Its recognition begins when the seeker stops claiming authorship. In that humility, the current becomes visible, and life begins to flow without resistance. The doer dissolves, leaving only doing effortless, radiant, divine. When all veils fall, the seeker realizes that this silent power was his own essence all along. It was the real, breathing through his being, moving before thought, before prayer, before self. In that unveiling, intention dies, and what remains is pure motion, the will of the eternal, moving itself through the mirror of the heart. When the word first descended, it clothed itself in sound so that hearts could hear. It left the ocean of silence and entered the river of expression. Yet every word yearns to return to its source, as light longs for the sun. When the word completes its journey, it brings with it the echo of the listener's awakening. The circle closes, and speech becomes vision. The word is born from silence and dies into silence. Between these two stillnesses lies creation. We imagine we speak, yet it is the one speaking himself through countless tongues. When the word returns, it gathers every echo it has ever made, carrying them back into the heart of unity, where no language remains but being. The listener is not other than the word's destination. Each heart was shaped as a vessel to receive its own remembrance. When the word finds such a heart, it recognizes itself reflected there. In that instant, the listener vanishes, for what listens is none other than what spoke in the beginning. The real utters, "Be," and creation becomes the ear of that command. Every creature listens, consciously or not, to the resonance of existence. But when awareness dawns, the listener begins to recognize the voice within the hearing. The return of the word unveils that hearing and speaking are one act mirrored across worlds. Every prayer, every recitation is the word traveling home. The breath that carries it is both path and pilgrim. The tongue releases it outward, but the heart receives it inward. When awareness deepens, the seeker realizes that his own listening completes the revelation. The word needed the listener to reveal itself. The prophet said that every verse descends twice, once into sound and once into understanding. The descent ends when the listener ascends to meet it. At that meeting point, the word folds back upon itself and becomes silence again. What remains is not communication, but communion. When the word returns, it strips itself of form. The letters dissolve into light, the meanings into presence. What the seeker once grasped as knowledge now burns as direct knowing. The book closes, but its fragrance remains the perfume of the one who spoke without separation. In the heart's innermost chamber, the returning word finds rest. It enters as vibration, settles as remembrance, and disappears as awareness. The listener cannot claim to have heard, for the hearing was divine. Thus, revelation ends not with comprehension, but with absorption. The journey of the word is the journey of the soul itself, born from the unseen, wandering through expression, and returning to the eternal hush. To hear its return is to feel the tides of creation flowing backward into the source. The listener stands at that shore, where waves become light and time becomes praise. The word does not return alone. It brings the listener with it, the one who once spoke and the one who once heard travel together into the heart of silence. There, distinction loses meaning. The word beholds itself through the mirror of the listener, and the mirror melts into pure reflection. All speech seeks its home in the infinite. The Quran, too, returns continually to the breath from which it came. The one who recites with presence feels this reversal within, the verse rising, then folding inward until it dissolves into awareness itself. This is the secret of divine recursion, the word recognizing its origin. When remembrance becomes total, the word no longer departs. It vibrates within the heart like a sun that neither rises nor sets. The listener becomes the axis of revelation. Silence, listening to silence. Light, perceiving light. The word has fulfilled its purpose, revealing not information, but identity. At the point of return, understanding ceases. The listener does not learn, he times becomes. Asterisk. The word, weary of travel through minds and meanings, finds repose in pure being. This is the unveiling Ibni Arabi spoke of, the speech of God, returning to God, witnessed through the human heart. To hear the words return is to awaken to unity. It whispers, "You were never apart from me." All the veils of learning, devotion, and sound fall away. What remains is the quiet certainty that every utterance of the real was a conversation within himself, witnessed through the mirror of creation. In this return, even gratitude becomes silence. The soul bows not out of duty, but out of recognition. The word that once instructed now embraces. It no longer commands, for nothing stands outside its will. The listener realizes he was never hearing times about times God. He was hearing times as times God. The return of the word is not an event, but a continual breathing. Each inhalation draws the world into stillness. Each exhalation recreates it anew. The heart that abides in this rhythm knows neither beginning nor end. It lives where the word forever departs and forever returns. When the word reaches its source, creation shines as echo. Every atom hums with remembrance. Every silence vibrates with affirmation. The listener who hears this symphony knows that hearing itself is worship. His existence is a sustained note in the eternal recitation of the real. The word reveals the listener by erasing him. What once heard now becomes what is heard. In that annihilation lies perfect revelation. The drop, realizing it was the sea all along. There is no speaker, no receiver. Only the soundless sound of being, aware of its own harmony. At the end of all return, there is only the beginning silence, luminous with potential. The word rests within it, as seed within soil, awaiting another breath to stir it. The listener rests too, dissolved into that stillness, awaiting the next call of creation. And the cycle continues, the real speaking to himself through the endless mirrors of love. When the seeker reaches the end of recitation, he finds there was never an end, only a return. The verses that once seemed to move across the tongue now unfold within the heart, glowing like stars reflected in still water. Surah Hashr ceases to be sound. It becomes presence. What began as remembrance becomes realization, and what was sought outside is discovered within. Every breath, every silence, every verse was a doorway not leading forward, but inward. The names once whispered, as prayer now rise as awareness, filling the soul with a nearness too vast to name. The seeker who entered as one reciting now stands as one times being, recited times by the word itself. In the quiet after the final verse, the universe pauses. The trees seem to breathe deeper, the air trembles with gratitude, and the heart feels the echo of the unseen returning home. The one who knows now bows not in form, but in recognition, for he has witnessed that every sound, every silence, every self was the beloved speaking to himself. So let the tongue fall silent, and let the heart continue the recitation. The true result is not what appears before the eyes, but what awakens behind them. Surah Hashr is not a secret to discover. It is a mirror to remember. And when remembrance deepens into being, the seeker dissolves into the verse that never ends, the verse of the eternal, calling through the heart, forever saying, "Be and return."